Hi, I'm Mike Tenney, host of Pop Culture Catechism for Awaken Catholic, and this is Awaken the Word, a reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Who among you would say to your slave who has just come in from plowing or tending sheep in the field, "Come here at once and take your place at the table"? Would you not rather say to him, "Prepare supper for me, put on your apron, serve me while I eat and drink, later you may eat and drink"? Do you thank the slave for doing what was commanded? So you also, when you have done all that you were ordered to do, say, "We are worthless slaves. We have done only what we ought to have done." In today's gospel, Jesus has a big old dose of humility for all of us. He says, when you have done all that you are supposed to do, everything you're supposed to do in a day, you've done all the right things, don't look for any credit. Don't look for any reward. Just say, "I did what I was supposed to do." In fact, he has some strong language here. He says, say, "We are worthless slaves. We have only done what we ought to have done." Pretty strong language here. Let's unpack it. What Jesus is doing here is asking us to look at our intention behind our actions. The why. Why do we do the things that we do? There's a virtue in Christianity, a good habit of our soul, that's what a virtue is, called purity. And that's what Jesus is talking about here. Now, most of the time when we hear of the virtue of purity, we think of it in relation to sexual sin. And it's relevant there too, but it's also much bigger than that. Because purity has to do with our intentions and why we do things. Why are we doing these things? Are we doing them for puffing ourselves up? Are we doing things so that we can get what we want? Or are we doing these things for the good of other people? And this is why it often relates to sexuality, is because if we have that pure intention within, we're not going to do bad sexual things. We're not going to do things that would hurt people, right? So purity of our intention, if we have a good intention, we're not going to do those bad things. But purity of intention also keeps us from doing good things in kind of a twisted, selfish, misguided, ultimately selfish way. And so Jesus says, even if you've done everything you're supposed to do, we have to focus on our purity of our intention. This is why he often looks at the Pharisees, who are the religious leaders who are following all these rules. And he says, you're whitewashed tombs. You look all fancy on the outside, but inside you're this dead, rotting corpse inside the tomb. And so we too ought to do what is right, not because we're going to get praise from anybody, or even ultimately because we're going to go to heaven or avoid hell, not for the reward or the lack of punishment, but we should be doing the right thing because we love God, we love our neighbor, we love goodness. And so today, let us be renewed to look inward and ask God's grace to come into our hearts and purify us from the inside out.